Welcome to another episode of the 100% podcast with me, your host, Harry Purdy. Today, I am welcoming back a returning guest for her third appearance on the show. This time, though, we have a little bit of a twist on the episode. Pippa has been with me now for 6 months as a client of the 100% membership, and she is absolutely flying. So I thought we would get her on today to discuss her journey so far with Harry Purdy and 100%, and put her in the spotlight and talk about all the amazing things that we've achieved over the last 6 months. Welcome back to the show, Pippa.
Thanks, Harry. Excited to be here as usual.
Good. How are you doing? How are things feeling? And tell us all about where you were before we started working with each other when you were like, I really want to work with Harry Purdy.
Where I'm at now, I'm in a good place. I'm in a really good place with training. I'm in a really good place with food. Um, I've got a few challenges going on, but I'm in a really good place mentally. And I kind of really taking good care of myself. And if we go back to um, in April when it was at a quarterly meetup we were both at, where
Mm.
I just came over to you at the end of the day and I said, Harry, are you taking one-to-one clients online? You're like, yeah. I was like, well, can I be one? And you're like, oh my God, yeah, okay. Um,
Yeah.
the reason that I reached out was I'd got myself in a really bad place with food, mindset, my habits were out the window, and you feel that kind of a bit of guilt and shame around it because I'm a coach. I know what to do. I could write my own training program. I can do my own nutrition. I could tell myself exactly what I needed to do. But over the winter and cumulative over the last few years of caring for my dad and then in passing and moving house and a whole load of personal stuff, I'd really lost the plot with it. I was getting very all or nothing, which is something that I absolutely tell clients not to be.
Mm.
And I was just struggling, really struggling. And I felt I wasn't going to the gym regularly at all. Like maybe I'd say I was going to go 3 times a week and maybe go once if I was lucky. Wasn't really following a structured program. My food was very much either, and I know better than this, but I was either over restricting or just not paying attention to what I ate at all. And even things like my daily steps. I mean, I remember we had that bit of a conversation about steps to start with. I was just struggling to get out,
Yeah.
get enough steps in. So yeah, Stan says thank you very much. Stan's my dog for people that don't know. Stan says thank you very much because he's getting his legs walked off again.
He's happy
Um,
boy. Hmm.
but yeah, I was just not in a great place, and I just asked you for some help.
I
And
think one thing that was like springs to mind straight away for me with you as a client was that we took a real steady approach, and I used the terminology slowly, slowly catchy monkey, and it
yeah,
was definitely for the first couple months. So, like, I'm sure you don't mind me saying, it was definitely slowly, slowly catchy
oh
monkey. Like every mini win that we got was a big win, and then
yeah.
that transcended into something that probably you didn't imagine that you would be back doing.
No, not this. Yeah, if you'd have said to me 6 months ago that I'd be back in the gym 3 or 4 times a week on the reg, and lifting some, really shifting some decent weights again and enjoying it and actually enjoying eating well again, I'd have said no. I'd have said, but my energy was in such a bad place. So for a bit of background for people, I don't know if I've been all the way through menopause or I'm still perimenopausal, but I was really struggling for energy. And the thing is that we all know that if you expend energy, it's a way of creating more. So the more you walk and the more you move and the more you exercise, the more energy you get. But even having that bit of energy to start with just seemed a bit overwhelming. And the one thing I remember saying to you was, I don't want to slash my calories because I know I'll run out of steam. I was so frightened of running out of energy and not being able to do anything. But yeah, I think the first 2 months were really, I should imagine that I was really hard work.
No, I wouldn't. I honestly, I don't. I would. I'm honest enough. I'm an honest enough coach to tell people when they're being hard work, and normally it would have turned into a different kind of conversation than what we were
Yeah.
having. I think there was definitely an element where, through luckily, like, I've worked with women before, and especially when it comes to that kind of age where that premenopausal things are happening,
Yeah.
it's important that you manage that energy. And I think we put a real focus on making you feel better about where you were at rather
Yeah.
than actually like taking on mountains before we could get up hills.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. So if I looked back, so pre, and for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm 54, and I've been on HRT for 6, 7 years now. 6 or 7 years, yeah. So, but pre-pandemic, I was training probably 6 days a week. I was arguably overtraining. I was either doing CrossFit or strength and conditioning training, maybe 3 days a week. I was at Barbell Club. I was at Strongman twice a week. I was training hard, and I could eat so much food because I was expending that much energy. I
Mm,
was regularly hitting like 12 to 15,000 steps a day, training 6 days a week, sleeping 8 hours a night, and just yeah. And if I'd have compared myself to that and said I need to get back to that, I would have just been completely overwhelmed because actually that's not who I am anymore. I've changed a lot. And I think when you're in that kind of menopause transition period, women don't realize that like getting back to what you were in your 30s or your early 40s or your 20s, is it realistic? No, because you've changed as a person. Like your biology's changed, your hormones have changed, your energy levels change, and it's not all bad. But yeah, so I think the best thing for me is that you set me targets or we talked together about, right, let's do this week. And then we did what I call your secret weapon, which is your magic three every
I'm
day.
free. Yeah,
Every morning, I send a text, a WhatsApp to Harry, and I tell him what my magic three things that I am going to do today are to get me closer to where I want to be. So some days that'll be gym, I don't know, hour-long dog walk, eat my calories. Some days that might be yoga, eat like a grown up maybe because if I'm sometimes you go over calories because it just
yeah, yeah,
happens
yeah.
if you're going out for dinner and stuff. Some days it might just be rest or reach out to a friend if I'm
Read a
feeling a bit
book.
I'll read a book, have some downtime, get in my garden. But that every morning, and I know we do it with our coach, but that actually focuses me totally on my health and fitness and what I need. And that really is good because it makes you drop into really thinking about, right, what do I need today, rather than just writing down what you think you need.
Absolutely. What was there a moment, I always call it like the tipping point moment. Was there a moment for you where you realized before you worked with me that you were like, oh shit, I need to change something now? Was it just being at the quarterly or was there something
Yeah,
before
it was
that?
that going to that quarterly with Paul. I sat there and I wasn't myself that day. I was tired. I got up really early to go. It was at Alton Towers, wasn't it?
Alton's hours, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't feel great in myself. I'd put weight on over the winter. I put weight on so easily because I'm only 5'2", so I've literally just got a. It doesn't take much to put a few few kilos on, but I put weight on again over the winter. And the day before, I tried to find something to wear, and no, 2 days before, and nothing looked right. I looked like a house side in everything. So I went and in the sales in Milton Keynes and I bought a tent of a dress, literally a tent of a dress, the like of dress that I haven't worn since I lost the majority of my weight in 2015/16. I mean, I used to be like a size 22 at one point. And this dress wasn't, it was a size 16, but I'm used to wearing a 12, sometimes a 14, and I just felt awful. I felt kind of fat, unattractive, dumpy, lacking in energy, lacking in spark. And actually, a few people noticed on that day and said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay." And I really wasn't. And I thought in the afternoon, we always do those exercises where you're like, right, okay, what is one piece of action you can take right now or straight after this event to make sure that you make the change that you want in the next 90 days? It's kind of like a question that's framed like that. And that's why, as soon as he stopped speaking and we'd all stopped clapping, I just walked, like, left all my stuff, walked straight over to find you, and then asked you, "Hey, are you taking one-to-one clients? Because I need some help."
Obviously, I feel incredibly privileged. And for those who don't know, Pippa worked with James Smith for a long period of time, right?
Yeah,
So,
he's gonna be like, "Girl,
and
why did you ask?"
yeah, yeah. And
Or
uh,
Darren.
yeah, right. I was like, geez, out of all of your network, you've come and asked me. So it's a massive privilege. Was there any fears on your behalf about working with somebody
Yeah,
like me?
I think always. Well, we've done two podcasts together and had some quite good chats.
Quite
And
good.
yeah, sorry, very good. Sorry, Darren. But you are very good at cutting to the crux of an issue. I can talk my way out of anything, We know that. I can literally, if I just keep talking and stuff, people get bored and wander off, and I can talk. But you are very good at cutting to the crux of a situation and seeing through my bullshit.
Mm.
I could kind of sense that, plus the fact that you are innately kind as a person. And I knew that you would actually not be like one of these PTs that's going to say, oh, yeah, but you didn't hit your 10,000 steps. Oh, but you didn't do this, but you didn't do that. Because when I said to you that I need to do this slowly, you were completely on board with it, completely on board. So, and I think it's that bespoke approach. Sometimes you can go with a PT, but they're all like a one size fits all. It's like, yeah, that's your program. Everyone gets the same program. I mean, you know how much feedback I've given you on program.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've been really
Which
bad
is
about.
fine. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But then at the same time, you'll take it and then you're like, right, so this is now at a point where actually, even if you don't like the exercise, you probably just need to do it. I'm like, okay, all right, I'll do it then, I'll do it. But it was being from that position that I would take feedback from you. And I don't take feedback from a lot of people. I'm a bit stroppy.
That's good then. Bit of respect there. So if we
Yeah,
talk about,
bit
let's go with over the last 6 months, your biggest three wins
oh my
that
God.
you think about, or maybe you can have five. I don't mind. You can
Okay,
big
actually, I
yourself up as much as you
normally,
can.
so on our check-in every week, Harry asks you for like at least 5 wins. I think I'm now famous for normally getting, I think the lowest amount I've ever got is 8, and sometimes it went to about 14 or
Yeah,
15.
it is impressive to read through.
But
As a
then,
coach, you're like, wow, she's flying. Yeah.
but then that's not, a lot of them aren't what people would see as massive wins. A lot of them are smaller wins. But so for me, increased energy is the biggest one. And I have had an HRT tweak as well, just for transparency
Mm.
purposes. But definitely the energy has come from a combination of eating really, really well, maximizing protein, fiber, and veg. Making sure that I eat carbs 3 times a day. Ladies, do not duck away from your carbs, please. They're not the enemy. And the other thing, probably on the energy front, is getting enough sleep.
Oh yeah, that's something that we've targeted, isn't it?
Yeah, so my sleep when we started, my sleep score on my Garmin, I was averaging like 45 or 50 as my sleep score. And it had been like that. It'd been like that since my dad got ill. I'll be really honest. I had 2 years of really disrupted sleep and I never could get my sleep back. So I always felt knackered. My sleep average now on my Garmin, a bad night, I score 80. And most of the time I'm scoring 85, 88. I've had a couple of 90s and I've had a 95,
Yeah.
which to say that I'm in menopause is amazing,
I think
really.
one thing that I don't mind. Obviously, I don't mind. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a sleep expert, but where I've had my own journey of like being low and not managing my sleep very well, I have worked with and even on myself on methods that can improve. And one thing that I've always found to be sometimes at the bottom of the list and maybe is overlooked by a lot of people when it comes to their sleep is that what you were doing was a bad habit to begin with at the start. It was you were getting put into a bad and stressed mood about the Garmin sleep score. So
I've
we
stopped looking at
actually
it for a while.
stopped looking at it for a month. And
Yeah.
then when we built a habit back in where you were sleeping again and you were seeing the better scores come through, it then makes you feel better about your sleep. So I think just a general takeaway for everybody is if you're somebody that doesn't sleep that well and you're religiously tracking your sleep and getting stressed out by the score your watch is giving you,
Yeah.
like fundamentally when you go to sleep you need to be asleep, right? Not stressing about what did they say, like to get to sleep you need to act asleep. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find that a watch can get you to not act asleep because you're thinking about what your score might be the next day, which then leaves you to be
So
stressed before you go to bed.
And I think actually there's 3 things that have really helped with my sleep. Number one is getting back to the gym and exercising. Number
Hmm.
two is walking every day and getting outside and moving my body. Um, and weirdly, the third one, yeah, it was not looking at my Garmin, but the third one, I think that was important was actually just realizing that what was I doing that I was knowingly sabotaging my sleep, and it was staying on my phone too late.
Mm.
It was not practicing enough stress management during the day. It was not paying attention to actually what I needed. It was eating not particularly well. So the interesting thing was when we first started working together at night, I would have a little neon diffuser going by my bed. I would have earplugs in. I have to have a mouth guard because I clench my jaw. I'd have mouth tape on as well because I do the nose breathing thing because I am an insta wanker. But also I then have the calm app on. So I would have normally somebody reading me a bedtime story, quite often Matthew McConaughey, reading me a bedtime story. And the room would be dark and everything had to be perfect before I thought I could sleep. So I still have my mouth guard in. I don't wear earplugs anymore. I still use my mouth tape. I don't have the Calm app on anymore and I don't use a diffuser. I literally get in bed, turn the light out, roll over and go to sleep.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You do
It's
wonder
mad.
the contradiction of doing all of those things might not actually be beneficial because you're not in a state of relaxation. Yeah, I think it's quite fascinating
Yeah.
to be honest with you. What are the
Yeah.
wins? What are the other big wins?
So the other ones were getting back into the gym. The first April, May, and June felt like a battle every single time. And I think I bitched and moaned after every single workout and generally was quite whiny. But then things kind of changed. We changed program. I think it was in July, right at the beginning of July.
July, yeah.
And I kind of said, oh, my deadlift grip, I was trying to work my deadlift back up to three figures, which I've done now. So we've got to 105 kilos for reps. So I'm quite happy
Woo!
with that. Whoop, whoop. But I said, oh, my deadlift grip's really struggling. And I never really used to use straps until I went over 120 kilos. So I kind of thought, I just want to try and improve my grip strength. So I asked you to program me farmer's walks, which is when you have a weight in each hand and you walk up and down with it. And when I was doing this on the track at my gym, there was these tires next to it. Now, one of my biggest things in strongman was at 5'2", and I think at the time I probably weighed about 79 kilos. I flipped a tire that was just under 200 kilos. And there's a picture of me somewhere in my Instagram with me standing in the tire. I had to bend down, but if I stood up straight, I could actually still fit in the tire. And I saw the tires, and because my mindset had already shifted about training in the gym, and I was in the gym, I thought, I wonder. So I got the smaller one. So I did one set of farmer's walks, and I flipped the smaller tire there and back. I thought, hmm. So I got the bigger one. It's still not massive, but I got it, and I put it at the edge of the thing. So I did another set of farmer's walks, and then I flipped the bigger tire there and back. And in that moment, everything shifted because I remembered, I'm going to get emotional now. Inside of me, there is a proper little badass that loves shifting heavy weight in the gym,
Mm.
and it makes me feel epic. And so I do that every week now. It's one of my finishers. I go and get that big tire, and I'm flipping it quicker and quicker and quicker every week. And the other week I had, I think I did a social media post called a love letter to flipping tires as well, because it just made me feel alive. And you remember then, it's like core memory unlocked. Holy shit, do you remember when I flipped that 200 kilo tire? Now, does that mean now that I'm like, oh no, I've got to be driven and I've got to get back to flipping a 200 kilo tire? No, because what I'm focusing on is the absolute joy of doing it and the way that it makes me feel. Doesn't matter about the weight of the tire, it's the way that it makes me feel when I do it.
Yeah. And I think if you to one thing that I think is really important is like we romanticize the big goals, which is or the big wins, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But just to bring it back down to the functionality of
Yeah.
working with, well, me, any coach, but obviously we've made a success of it. It has been about processes. And
Yeah.
like that was a concoction of you turning up to the gym. And although the first, like maybe five, six, first 3, 4 weeks weren't in some ways, you was a fight, right? Wasn't it? Let's
It
be
really
real.
was.
It was a fight, yeah. But when we boxed that off and we started to remember the dopamine feeling and all of those things, all
Yeah.
of those mini habits and processes we'd put in for 3 months prior, then
Yeah.
unlocked on that day, and it was like, wow, there's the big moment.
And it is that. And sometimes it is about lifting a heavy weight. When I hit three figures on a deadlift again, when I hit 100 kilos, I was so emotional. I jumped in the air at the gym, punched the air, then burst into tears.
Yeah, nice.
In a
Not
way,
very
it's
like that's unlike you.
giving noise, as you do.
Yeah.
Um, and it's little things like the other week, because I've got rehabbing this knee injury as well. We hadn't put back squats in. And I just said to the other week, Harry, I'm going to freelance a little bit. And you were like, I roll. Of course you are.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back squatting. And I did. And I got to 70 kilos for I think it's 8 reps that were in the thing. For my first kind of like going back to that, and I think I've got up to about 80, 85 now. But that what made me feel it kind of unlocks that thing inside you that you remember, and we lose this as ladies doing menopause, you remember that you're powerful and you
Yeah.
remember you can do hard things, and you remember that you're a badass, and you really can do tough stuff. So like now, I mean, I remember you saying to me, right, I want you to go and do 1,000 meter row for time, and then 1,000 meters on the ski erg for time, and I was just like, I can't do that. That used to not be in my vocabulary. I never have been the fastest, the fittest, the strongest, or anything like that. But that thing, I can't do that. Never used to be in my vocabulary. But I did it though. I was
Pushed
dying
you.
afterwards, but I did it.
Yeah, I think I got the reddest, sweatiest selfie photo after that one. Yeah.
This is the colour of this sweatshirt. I was just
Yeah. Hello, YouTube. I'm stopping you in the middle of this episode because a lot of you who stick around and watch my podcast episodes aren't yet subscribed. So, do me a favor before you carry on watching the rest of this episode and just click the subscribe button. And you don't even need to watch every episode, but what it does do is it boosts this channel and it helps me a long, long way. Enjoy the rest of the show. But yeah, I think it's important, right? Because there's so when it comes to, and I know obviously I think what happened to you from the outset is all the good habits that you put in place were unwound because of circumstances outside of your control.
yeah.
So it's then just about rewinding them up, which we
Yeah.
are in the process of doing. But like any journey, there's been ups and of course there's been downs.
Yeah.
So how have you and I managed them in the best way possible to make sure that we stay on track, but without feeling pressured to be 100% all the time?
So thinking that the early days, I'd just come in and word vomit on WhatsApp and just, or send you a really rambly voice note. I know you love voice notes, soz. And you would unpick that, let me say what I needed to say, but then your best question you always ask is, okay, so what can you do? Because
Yeah.
I'll always tell you what I can't do, and I do this with clients, and it is what can you do? You know, if the gym isn't going to happen today, or you've not left it, can you just get out for a walk? If and there's some days that I haven't left myself enough time between calls for the gym, and now I just go and grab my kettlebell from under the stairs, and I just do kind of like 6 or 8 rounds of a kettlebell workout of 4 exercises, and do that, and that's better than nothing. And it's that losing that all or nothing mentality, and knowing that like we don't have a particular step goal. I have a minimum, but I have a range. We don't have a particular calorie goal. I have kind of like a range of where I'm aiming for. I prioritize protein, but I don't get hung up on it and think
Yeah.
I've failed if I don't hit it. So for me, it's kind of being able to, for you to like see what's happening, but also make me look at it in a different way. Because the worst thing that you can ever do for me is if someone tells me off or has a go at me, I get horribly defensive and I've got a little bit of a temper. And actually, and that wouldn't work with me. Having a coach that I felt that I couldn't say this was going on and I've got a problem with this or I'm struggling today, and that wouldn't be empathetic, but also give me a bit of challenge to do something, that wouldn't have worked for me.
Do you mind if we bring it can be edited if you don't want to, but the last week when you were sat on your bench in the garden in a funk for obviously things outside of your zone, I think that was a perfect example of if I'm going to blow my own trumpet, completely understanding the situation, but also realizing that if you were to have stayed in that position all day,
Yeah.
it would have just probably amplified the negative feelings. So
Yeah, so I don't mind
yeah,
saying, so this was last week, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So last week was the third anniversary of my dad passing away, and I'm all right talking about it now. My mum died 27 years ago, so some anniversaries I'm not, you still have a bit of a tear, but
Mm.
I can cope and I can function and I can. This year with dad, I was a basket case. It's absolute, just really, I lost the plot, completely lost the plot. And I think I messaged you and said, Harry, I'm sat on my mum's bench in the garden in the sunshine. I can't stop crying. I can't get a grip. I've been like it for almost like 2 days. And I hadn't told you the first couple of days.
Mm.
I kind of like fudged it off a little bit. Um, and what, we spoke about was, and again, it's kind of like empathy. You completely got where I was coming from. But at the same time, like, what can you do to help yourself feel a bit better? And just like not pushing me to go to the gym, but do you need to go for a walk? Have you had proper breakfast? have you got a plan for lunch? Have you meal prepped? Or if you haven't prepped, have you got a plan? What can you do to support yourself? Um, and it's those kind of questions for me that I didn't give myself permission then to slack off for the rest of the week. But what I did do was I just said, right, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on eating 3 meals a day, proper meals, not things just involving toast, which is my go-to. Um, I'm going to make sure I connect with a human that loves me every day or that cares about me. I'm going to make sure that I get out for a walk with Stan every day. And I'm probably going to prioritize yin yoga, which obviously helps me regulate my nervous system over a weight session.
Mm.
And that was kind of the plan. And then also, I kind of said to you, like, I'm going to try and stay off my phone at the weekend, which I did actually, didn't I? And you said, that's okay, but you've been quiet. I just need to know you're okay.
Yeah,
Now, that brings me to my next point, which is a win, but also a massive thing that's helped me. Sorry, I'm just freelancing now. You know what I'm
you're
like.
good. Yep,
Um,
it's all good. It's all helpful.
was you saying I just need to know you're okay? Because for me, one of the things that this whole process has, when you live on your own, and I don't think it matters whether you're male or female, I can only relate to doing it when you're female, but particularly when like you're self-employed as well, you've got challenges, you're juggling finances, you're juggling looking after the house, the dog, checking in with family and stuff. Women are still not good at putting themselves first, even when they live on their own. Quite often, you get to the end of the day, and if you're tired and you haven't got a plan for dinner, you can't be asked to cook. And you fall into toast or that horrible TikTok trend of girl dinner, which is basically an excuse to eat half a packet of biscuits, some fruit, a bit of cheese, whatever's lurking in the fridge, and a random assembly of stuff on a plate, which is probably not going to help you nutritionally or with energy or with anything. So, one of the biggest things that has helped me is so I send Harry a photo of my 3 meals a day.
Makes me hungry. 9 times out of 10.
But I'm a bit of a foodie. I like my food.
Yeah. It,
To start with that first month, you're like, oh my God, what's that? That looks amazing.
yeah, yeah. I've got used to it now. Pippa's meal prep and food that she sends me looks like something you get served in a bistro, quiz like restaurant all the time. I'm like fucking fancy ass. Like Jesus Christ.
Like, it's me with the bougie breakfast.
Yeah, bougie breakfast. Yeah, coming at me again with the bougie breakfast, like baked pear and all that malarkey in it.
Yeah. But actually, for me, doing that and knowing that I'm showing somebody else what I'm eating, that makes me make it look nice. It makes me think about it. It makes me prep it. Now, whether that's some kind of weird people pleaser thing in me, but actually having somebody else give a shit about what I'm eating has helped me to eat better. And now I've realized again how much better I feel when I eat well. It's a bit of a no-brainer. So
And
I
it,
generally meal prep on a Sunday morning or I meal plan on a Sunday morning. Um, and I normally have stuff in the fridge ready to go, particularly for the nights that I work and I'm coaching in the evening.
mm.
Dinner's always ready to go. It just needs reheating in the fridge.
Subconsciously as well, maybe there's a bit of like extra self-respect, like really taking care of what you're putting on your plate
Yeah.
and what it looks like. It's like a so almost like a sense of, look at this. Like I've
Yeah.
looked after myself that well that I've made it look nice as well. I think anyway, I think that's
I
really
think it's
important.
one of the things that I kind of do with clients, particularly if you've become from like a meal prep background, like when we were on the body coach plan, everything like you had to prep because you just wouldn't be able to keep up with the amount of ridiculous amount of veg that you had to eat and stuff.
Mm.
Um, I went through a whole phase in my life earlier, like when I was first really in the gym 6 days a week. I ate pretty much every meal out of Tupperware. So now I do bake stuff in glass dishes and that kind of thing, which is okay. But I have a rule that if it's in Tupperware, I plate it up.
Yeah.
I know people are going to say, oh, create more washing up. Why do you do that, etc. Because I like eating. I'm going to sound really bougie now. I like eating with a knife and fork off a china plate,
Yeah,
sat
yeah.
at a table, not slumped on the sofa, sat at a table with my dinner on a table mat in front of me.
You'd hate my house. I've sold my dining room table and I haven't replaced it yet. It was too big. It was too big for me. I live on my own. Sometimes my girlfriend comes around. The maximum amount of people I have would be 4 people. The table was just too big. It was doing my head in. I'd walk into the kitchen. I'd feel like, fucking hell, look at the size of that table. So I had to get rid of it.
Yeah, Yeah, but I mean, for me, that's kind of because I really love my food. I mean, I went out for dinner on Sunday night and had the most amazing meal. But I get really excited by food. And
Yeah.
that's probably why I ended up at a size 22 in the first place. Well, actually, it probably isn't because the food that I was eating was just to dull and feelings and to replace the lack of joy in my life. But yeah, so actually sending you my food pictures has been another massive thing for me. And the win from that is that I eat. I mean, I think you would probably say that I eat really well.
Mm.
Um, and there's loads of veg, loads of protein, loads of fiber, loads of variety. Even if I do eat the same meal 3 or 4 times in a week, it's not the same meal week on week, except
Yeah.
when I have that thing with those croque monsieur high protein toasties.
Oh God. Yeah. That was a habit, wasn't it?
That was like a whole month of, oh my God, these are so good. I've got to have it for lunch every single day.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
they did look good. I got three questions wrote down
right.
to two of them I think will be linked. So you've obviously worked with a lot of people, and you are a coach yourself, so you've helped a lot of people too. Is there anything, this is not a setup, by the way, is there anything that surprised you about my approach as a coach?
Probably, although I expected you to give me challenge, the fact that you would give me challenge, but in such a way that I didn't feel got at. And that also you weren't frightened to challenge me. I know
Yeah,
when you're working
you
with
were
another,
surprised about that, were you?
yeah, well, I kind of, that's one of the reasons I picked you, but I was still really pleased that actually that turned out to be right and that I was right in that assumption. Because I think when it's you're dealing with another coach, sometimes you think, oh, I won't challenge them about that because they know what to do.
Mm.
But actually, it doesn't matter that we know what to do. It's the actual doing that is the issue and the taking action. So that was a good surprise. Was it a surprise? It was kind of a surprise. Um, and that you call me on my bullshit because we all need calling out on our own bullshit, don't we?
Yeah.
We really do. So the second thing that was a really good surprise for me was the fact that I could kind of talk to you about anything that was going on. And I mean absolutely anything. Um, and you would just listen and hold a bit of space for me, WhatsApp voice note if needed. But anything that I was like, if you got a whole screen on WhatsApp of me emptying my brain, sorry, you would actually read it properly and then come back to me with really intelligent, well thought out feedback, which means that you listen. And that's really important to me as well.
For somebody that talks a lot, I do listen as well. So yeah, thank you, Pippa. I appreciate that, by the way. What would you say, aside from your like health and fitness, which is a big part of the 100% philosophy, but also what is a big part of the 100% philosophy is how what you do for your health and your fitness impacts your life and lifestyle as well. Is there any way that that's impacted and had a knock-on effect?
Yeah, massively. So I'd been single for 2.5 years when we started working together, I think.
A right Pringle.
Yeah, I was a right single Pringle, but on purpose after
Yeah.
the absolute car crash of how my last relationship ended, I just decided that was it. I was going to go away, work on myself, get my head together, and get myself in a good place and do what our coach says, which is build a life I love. And I'd done it, and but the only thing that wasn't quite working for me was with the relationship with my body and how I felt about my body. So we started working together. So after April, May, June, July, 4 months, probably 3 months of working together, um, I had lost, and we haven't talked about weight once. I couldn't actually tell you what I weigh, Harry. I've got no idea. I haven't done it in a month. But I have gone back to um, probably more 14, but I'm back in some size 12s. And I was
Vamos.
16 when we started. So I felt better about my body. Things felt tighter again because I was lifting weights. So my energy was better because I was eating better. My skin looked better. My hair felt better. My nails were growing again because I was eating better. And all of that led me to joining a singles group,
Woo!
and it's not an online. I would never go on online dating apps again, ever, ever, ever. And it's an in-person group, so you actually have to go and turn up. You join the group, you have to go buy a ticket and turn up to a singles event. So the first night I did it, I turned up to a singles event at a pub in Milton Keynes, um, that was going to have like over 120 single people there. I was shitting it. I was absolutely bricking it. And I'm quite a confident person. when it comes to anything else except that. And actually, I made a load of really good friends. I've been on quite a lot of dates.
Oh yeah.
No, well, I've been on a lot of coffee dates, a lot of first dates. That's all I'm
Yeah,
going to say. No one until this last week has made it to a second date. Um, and Yeah, but I've made friends. But I've actually, it's very early days, but I'm on a third date tonight.
let's go, Pips.
That's actually made me, I think doing this whole process and learning to look after myself and appreciate myself again has given me the confidence to go and put myself out there and just be, and I've been just so exactly me. So yeah, that the confidence thing is quite amazing, really. And I think people don't give that enough credit, that when you actually do something that's for you, and you're investing in you, and it is an investment having one-to-one PT, but arguably it is the best money you'll ever spend
Thank you,
because
Pippa.
you will kind of, and I said to you, like, I'm in now. I think after the first month, I told you I was in till the end of the year. And I've already done my finances for the first 6 months of next year, and I'm in. So because I value it, I value your input, but I value having that focus on myself to make me, and I don't talk about the best version of me, to make me my favourite version of me. And
Yeah, nice.
my favourite version of me is one that is comfortable with myself, my body, my energy, that I feel good, I lift weights, I go to the gym, I eat well. Um, so yeah, it's kind of like a whole thing. It's not just about going to the gym, losing weight, and eating protein.
Yeah, I think if you ask any transformation coach, mindset and fitness, what the best bit about the job is, because it is a job, like, although it doesn't sometimes feel like what you would consider to be a like A to B job, if that makes sense, is when you have somebody that's invested in their own process, but also like is coachable, and you've been really coachable to the extent that we have gone from somebody that was void of energy, not engaging in any kind of gym habit at that specific moment in time, was focused on what was going wrong more than what was going right. And this is off the cuff, by the way. And what we've turned you into now is we've flipped that completely around. We've rebuilt the energy with a bit of assistance, but that's absolutely fine that we've utilized the knowledge that you have as a coach about menopause and premenopause and HRT to
Yep.
get the better to create a new version of yourself. We've got somebody that's not just obviously sometimes I have to snap you out of focusing on what you can't do and what's not going wrong, but that is my job as a one-to-one coach to do that.
Appreciate that.
But you focus on what's gone well more than you've gone one than sorry, than what's gone wrong. And we have slowly built habit by habit, which I talk about so often, brick by brick, habit by habit, your version of what you wanted to create. And it's been really, really, really incredible to watch. So I appreciate you, Pippa. You've literally smashed it. You're definitely given me 100% version of you. What would you say to somebody who's listening? They're like, they've seen your story, they really like the sound of what you've done. They like the sound of working with me because I challenge people and I coach people in a I think like a quite a unique way. What would you say to them if they're sitting on the fence about signing up to 100% coaching?
I think, well, considering that we're now in November, so I'm guessing this podcast will go out in the next two
Not, yeah,
weeks.
next week be,
So we'll be going,
yeah,
this is November. So I think a lot of people, they get to this time of year and they're thinking, shit, I didn't do that thing this year that I said I was going to do. I didn't lose the weight. I didn't get fit. I didn't learn to run 5K. I didn't get back to the gym. And they focus on all the things they didn't do. And they think now it's November and they think, oh, it's not worth it. But there's 2 months left of this year, and everyone and his dog will be going to the gym for the first time again in January. And actually, the best thing that you could do for yourself now, if you're on the fence, is rather than thinking, oh, I'm not ready, or this is going on, or Christmas is coming up, ready is a decision. You just have to decide in the moment that come what may, I'm ready. And just message Harry because He is approachable. He will help you figure out the best way to start your journey for you. Not one size fits all. This is what you get cookie cutter program. He'll help you figure it out and he will listen. And for me, that ready thing, that quote, ready is a decision. If you can go through November and December and you think, oh no, I'm not going to lose any weight, take the focus off weight. Because if you go through November and December and all of a sudden you're managing to get out, maybe at lunchtime for a walk to get a bit of sunlight as well, and you're managing to get to the gym twice a week when you haven't been at all year, and you're managing to maybe eat at maintenance calories even rather than eating over maintenance calories and putting weight on. How about if you actually got to Christmas week and you just felt more energized, more excited because you've got more energy, you felt better about your relationship with your body, better about your relationship with food, and actually you could have like 7 weeks worth of or 8 weeks worth of self-respect in the bank
Mm.
because you've just invested in yourself. Because regardless of what everyone says, Christmas is like it's a week, isn't it? Between Christmas and New Year, it's Christmas Eve to New Year's Day, and we're done. But we build it up in our heads now to this massive thing. We
I
dig
know. Yeah.
Mariah Carey, and if you're not careful, it's just an excuse to slump on the sofa and overconsume a whole load of food. Now, I'm not saying that is a bad thing if that's really, really what you want to do. But if you are beating yourself up in your head for not having hit some goals that you set yourself back in January, then you need to give Harry a call.
Boom. Pippa, the last question for today's client spotlight. Now you've worked with me for over 6 months. What does 100% mean to you?
100% means, and it's not about giving 100% on every single day. 100% to me is understanding what 100% means for me personally. Not for you, not for anyone else in your client group, but for me. And on some days that will be um, going to the gym, getting an 8,000 step walk in. It will be prioritizing my protein. On other days, that will be prioritizing spending time with family and friends, getting some downtime, gifting myself an early night, cuddling my dog, curling up with a book I want to finish. But actually, they're not mutually exclusive. They're all part of me and what it takes for me to be 100% to be able to go out in the world and do what I want to do. I didn't actually rehearse that either. That just came out.
Pippa, honestly, it's been amazing to have you on again. If people want to come and find out more about you, where can they come find you?
On Instagram, I am that Pippa.
I
Um,
am that Pippa.
I am that Pippa. And the reason I am that Pippa is because I'm in the back of James's second book as a thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Um, and also on Facebook, it's Pippa Matthews Coaching, or just look for me, Pippa Matthews. Both of my accounts are public. So yeah, come find me. If you want to know a bit more about my journey, just drop me a message and I'll reply. Or if I can help in any way, shape, or form, ladies, with your menopause worries, I'm your girl. Just drop me a
She
message.
is your girl. She is definitely your girl. So, if you have enjoyed today's episode of the 100% podcast with a client spotlight episode, please go over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and drop a 5-star review. And if you're watching on YouTube, I hope you've enjoyed it as well. Like and subscribe. Give Pippa some kudos. What's your biggest takeaway from the show? We'd love to know in the comments. And any questions you have as well, fire them to both of us. If it's about menopause and HRT, send them to Pippa. If it's about anything else, send them to me. We would love to hear from you. And yeah, we want to help as many people as we possibly can. I'll catch you here with a new episode every Friday. Take care.